where we plunge headfirst into the most intriguing topics, dissecting all the information out there so you don't have to. And today, well, we're doing just that with some really exciting news from the world of horror. A brand new I Know What You Did Last Summer film is set to slash its way into theaters in July 2025. Now, for anyone who's trying to keep up with this franchise, you'll know that its naming conventions and timeline are well, let's just say they're a tangled mess. Seriously, as of 2025, we actually have 3 separate entries into the franchise that all share the exact same title, along with 2 others that basically just change one word. It's it's enough to make your head spin. So our mission today is to untangle these bloody threads. We're going to explore the true origins of this iconic horror series and figure out exactly where this new film fits into its legacy. By the end of this deep dive, you'll be completely up to speed before it hits the big screen.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating about this whole thing is how such a simple premise, a secret kept among friends, it just spiraled into this decade-spanning saga.
Right.
So this deep dive isn't just about, listing dates and sequels. It's really about understanding how those core themes, like guilt and consequence, keep getting revisited and reinterpreted, sometimes radically redefined through different movies.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see how that approach led to some, wildly different results along the way.
Okay, let's dive in then. Let's unpack this with the original sin. I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. The setup is just classic 90s, isn't it? July 4th, 1996. You've got 4 teenage friends, Julie James, Helen Shivers, Barry Cox, and Ray Bronson driving back from the beach. This is in Southport, North Carolina. And they accidentally hit a pedestrian. Panic sets in. They make this desperate pact to keep it secret, dump the body in the ocean. I mean, you can just feel that tension immediately, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a primal fear.
And this film, it really rode that wave of R-rated teen thrillers in the 90s. Plus, it assembled this fantastic young cast that was just exploding onto the scene. You had Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Philippe, and Freddie Prinze Jr. I mean, they were everywhere back then.
They really were.
Do you think that star power was maybe a bigger factor in its immediate success than even the script itself? Or was it just like a perfect storm?
That's a great question. I think it really was a perfect storm, a confluence of factors. Kevin Williamson's script was definitely key, especially coming right off the massive success of Scream.
Huh.
But you're right about the cast. Getting that group of emerging teen idols together, that was pretty rare for a horror film back then. It wasn't just a slasher. It felt like a teen event movie,
Totally.
And for genre fans, the origins are pretty interesting, too. It was loosely based on Lois Duncan's 1973 novel, but Kevin Williamson heavily reworked it. Unlike Scream, which was all meta and satirical about slashers,
Right.
Williamson made I Know What You Did Last Summer into a more straightforward, almost like a love letter to the 80s slasher formula. He even directly used that urban legend, the hook, right in the opening campfire scene, to set that specific tone.
Oh, okay.
And the killer's identity, Ben Willis, the fisherman. That's crucial because it immediately grounded the horror. It wasn't random. He was the very man they thought they'd killed. His motivation was pure revenge. What's often forgotten, or maybe people just didn't know, is that he was already out for revenge for his daughter, Susie Willis. She died in a car accident, and he had just killed her boyfriend, David Egan, blaming him for it. So he was already on a dark path.
Wow, okay.
And here's a fun little detail. You can impress your friends with this one.
Yeah.
The hook Ben Willis uses. It wasn't even originally his.
No way.
Yeah, it actually belonged to Johnny Galecki's character, Max. Ben just kind of borrowed it after killing Max.
That's brilliant. I never knew that.
It shows how detailed Williamson was, right? Those little touches.
Definitely. And the climax of that 97 film. Oh, man, etched in my memory. Ray saves the day, fights Ben. Ben gets thrown overboard. His hand is severed by the boat rigging. Seems like he's dead. Gone.
Yep. Classic slasher defeat. Or so you think.
Exactly, because then, boom, that final jump scare, just genius. Julie's back at college, thinks she's safe, finds I Still Know written in steam on the shower door, and then this dark figure just crashes right through. I swear, it made me check my own shower for messages for weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that jump scare was key. It left a mark. Critically, the film got kind of a mixed reception, but commercially, it was a monster hit. Made over $125 million on just a $17 million budget.
Wow.
Stayed #1 at the U.S. box office for 3 weeks straight. It just clicked. It gave audiences those classic slasher thrills, but with that psychological suspense edge.
Right.
But it's worth mentioning Lois Duncan, the author of the original book. She really didn't like it. She publicly said she was appalled. They turned her story into a slasher.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that highlights that whole tension between the source material and the adaptation, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So given that killer cliffhanger in 97, a sequel was pretty much guaranteed. And just a year later, 1998, we got I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. But this is where the franchise really starts messing with you. Begins with a massive fake out.
Oh, yeah.
That iconic shower scene from the end of the first movie? Nope. Turns out it was just a dream.
So frustrating.
Totally. A complete fake out for the fans. Julie and Ray do return, though, but their relationship is definitely rocky.
Understandably.
And this time, the plot takes them way out of Southport. Julie wins this radio contest for a trip to the Bahamas for 4. Only, surprise, surprise, they end up targeted by the Fisherman again, but on this remote island during a hurricane.
Because, of course.
We get some new characters, too, like Carla Wilson, played by Brandy. She was great. And Will Benson, played by Matthew Settle. Oh, and fun fact, if you blink, you might miss it, but Jack Black has this uncredited cameo.
Oh, yeah. The weed guy.
Yeah. The eccentric herbal health enthusiast doesn't last long, though.
No, he does not. And the big twist in this sequel, right, is that Will Benson, he's actually Ben Willis's son.
Oh, okay.
The whole Bahamas trip was just this elaborate setup to lure Julie there. And then Ben accidentally kills his own son, Will, in the climax.
Whoops.
Yeah. Before Julie finally kills Ben for real dead, as the movie puts it, which, didn't stick either, technically.
Right. So while it still made money, like $84 million worldwide on a $24 million budget, not bad. The critics hated it.
Overwhelmingly negative, yeah. It really started to lose that core psychological tension from the first film. By making it bigger, going to an island, bringing in the killer's family, it just felt more generic, lost that intimacy of the first one.
Yeah, I could see that. And then the franchise took a really, really sharp turn with I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer in 2006. This is where things get weird. It goes direct to video, completely standalone sequel, totally new cast, unrelated plot, just different.
Totally different.
So the basic idea is kind of similar on the surface. New group of teens, this time in Broken Ridge, Colorado. They stage a prank on July 4th, 2005. It goes wrong, someone dies accidentally, they make a pact.
Deja vu.
Right. But a year later, the Fisherman starts hunting them. Sounds familiar, but the execution is where it just goes off the rails.
Completely. This film made the Fisherman like a supernatural zombie thing, an unstoppable force with glowing red eyes.
Glowing red eyes, seriously.
Seriously. And apparently, he could only be hurt by his own hook.
Mm-hmm.
It just fundamentally changed everything. It went from being this, semi-grounded revenge slasher, which was its strength, to a full-on supernatural horror flick. And people hated it. It has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
0%. Ouch.
Yep, to sums it up. The appeal of the original was that very human fear, right? Your past catching up. When the killer's suddenly immortal and unkillable, you lose all the stakes, that human element just vanishes.
Makes sense. And just to complicate things even more, in 2021, Amazon Prime Video did that TV series adaptation, also called I Know What You Did Last Summer. New story again, centered on twin sisters, new group covering up a crime. Felt like another reboot attempt almost.
Exactly. Which brings us to a really crucial point for this whole deep dive, the new 2025 film. It completely ignores both the 2006 direct-to-video movie and the 2021 TV series.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, it's basically wiping the slate clean, continuity-wise. They're deliberately streamlining the timeline, picking up directly from those first 2 theatrical movies.
Okay, so that brings us to the really exciting news. The upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer film. It's officially the 4th installment in the main movie franchise. And here's the kicker. It is a direct sequel to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer from 1998.
Yes.
Picking up 27 years after the Tower Bay murders mentioned in that second film.
A long time coming.
And the absolute best part, Jennifer Love Hewitt is B-Gas as Julie James, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is B-Gas as Ree Bronson.
That's the crucial bit, isn't it?
Totally. We even heard a snippet from the new trailer that just perfectly nails that original vibe. Lines like, someone is clearly coming after us.
All right.
And what are you waiting for? It really feels like a direct continuation. But what did it take to get them both back after all this time?
That's a really interesting part of the story, actually. Because the commitment behind the scenes to getting them back, it says a lot about what they're trying to do with this movie. The director, Jennifer Kaytin Robinson, she flat out said there was no movie without Hewitt and Prinze Jr.
Wow.
And Hewitt herself, she apparently insisted on having a substantial role. She said something like, if I'm going to come back 27 years later, I don't want to just be in it for 5 seconds.
Good for her.
Yeah. She said she wanted to make it matter for people, which sounds like they're really trying to give fans a proper, meaningful continuation, not just some quick cameo thing.
Definitely. Sound like it'll lean into that legacy, what Julie and Ray have been through.
Exactly. And the premise for the 2025 film is that a new group of friends gets targeted by a hook-wielding killer. Again, 1 year after they covered up a car accident.
Yeah.
So this new generation, facing that same moral crisis, actually seeks out Julie and Ray for help.
Oh, interesting. Tying the generations together.
Precisely. Bridging the past and present fears.
The new cast has some great names, too. Madelyn Cline, Sui Wonders, Jonah Hauer King, Tyriq Withers, Sarah Pidgeon, Billy Campbell, Gabriette Bechtel, Austin Nichols. It's a solid lineup. Production-wise, Jennifer Kaytin Robinson co-wrote the screenplay with Sam Lansky based on a story by Lee McKendrick and Robinson, and they filmed between October 2024 and March 2025, mostly in Australia, New South Wales, and some in LA. They're also apparently weaving social media influence into the plot this time.
Which makes total sense for today, right? Secrets are even harder to keep now.
Exactly.
So this whole legacy sequel approach, it really signals a clear shift. The franchise is ditching the supernatural stuff from the 2006 movie.
Thank goodness.
Right. And going firmly back to that grounded, revenge-driven slasher tone of the originals. It's like they're trying to simplify the lore, get back to what worked. But as we talked about, it definitely doesn't simplify the title situation.
No kidding.
This 2025 film has the exact same name as the original 1997 one. So now we have 3 movies called I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Classic franchise chaos.
It really is. So, okay, mark your calendars. July 18th, 2025. You now know exactly what you're walking into, timeline-wise at least. Phew. So we've taken you on quite a journey there. From that simple, terrible secret on the 4th of July, all the way through sequels, spin-offs, reboots, to this multi-generational saga of vengeance. And now it's circling back to its more grounded human roots, bringing back those familiar faces. It's definitely a complicated legacy, but a pretty bloody fun one to untangle. And hopefully now you feel fully equipped with the whole story.
Yeah, and if we kind of zoom out and connect this to the bigger picture, it does raise an interesting question, doesn't it? In a world like today, where basically every secret feels like it could be exposed, where a private moment can go viral instantly. What does that enduring fear of, I know what you did last summer, really tell us now about the nature of guilt and how inescapable the past feels, especially in this digital age?
That's a great point. It's such a classic moral dilemma, but it still hits hard, doesn't it? Makes you wonder, what new insights will this 2025 film offer? About living with your choices, especially when it feels like there's always someone or something watching. We can't wait to find out.